Imagine a major city losing its biggest sports team, fighting a $1 billion deficit, and battling street chaos all at the exact same time. Welcome to Chicago's current reality.
Yeah, that is an intense way to start, but honestly, it fits perfectly.
It really does. I was, looking through these numbers from Memorial Day weekend to set the scene for you, and they are just staggering. We were talking about gunfire hitting 39 people across the city.
Wow. And leaving 2 dead, right?
Yeah, 2 people dead. And down by the beaches, police are pulling weapons off teenagers. They made 53 arrests, and about half of those individuals were minors.
Half. That is wild.
I know. Officers seized 9 weapons in total, including guns, knives, tasers, and even bear mace.
Bear mace. Seriously.
Yes. Meanwhile, an 18-year-old driver rammed his car into 5 police officers. And hanging over all this physical chaos, the city is staring down a massive billion-dollar deficit.
Yikes.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a stack of notes and a highly critical video by a YouTube creator named Brandon Lehman.
Yeah, and together, these sources paint a pretty dire picture of a major American metropolis on the brink. But before we really get into the weeds, we need to clarify our mission today.
Definitely.
The sources you provided contain very strong, politically charged, right-wing viewpoints regarding Chicago's leadership. So I want to make it absolutely clear to you, the listener, that we are not endorsing these political views.
Right. We absolutely do not take sides.
Exactly. Instead, we are just here to impartially unpack the arguments and events that these specific sources describe. We want to understand how the sources build their case regarding the city's current trajectory.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think the best place to start is on the streets. Because, well, the physical reality of a city dictates everything else.
It really does.
Like, if we think of a city like a giant clockwork machine, what happens when the gears just stop following the rules?
Well, the sources point to events they call teen takeovers, and the details are pretty intense. Early on a Sunday morning, crowds gathered just west of the University of Illinois at Chicago.
Yeah, and when police tried to disperse them, that 18-year-old driver, Rashad Johnson, literally accelerated his car directly into the police line.
He ran over 5 officers, and thankfully they all survived, but he was arrested with a weapon and now faces multiple felony charges, including attempted murder.
And almost at the exact same time in the Little Village neighborhood, a gunman opened fire and shot 14 people.
Yeah, and the youngest victim there was only 14 years old.
It's just horrific. How does a city even begin to manage that?
What's fascinating here is how the sources frame the severity of these events. It is not just typical weekend crime to them. They portray this as a total collapse of public order.
Right, because while those shootings were happening, several hundred teenagers took over the streets down at 57th Street Beach and in Hyde Park.
Exactly. The sources describe massive crowds fighting each other, throwing objects at police, and literally dancing on top of squad cars.
And that specific chaos led directly to the 53 arrests we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and the momentum of that unrest carried right into the night. Groups of teenagers looted a convenience store near Roosevelt and Canal.
Wow.
Police arrested more than 36 people at that store alone.
Including a 12-year-old. I mean, I understand weekend crime in a major city, but a 12-year-old getting arrested for organized looting feels like a completely different category.
It really does. And the sources also highlight a disturbing video where a mob of teenagers violently jumps an innocent woman on the street.
Oh, yeah, and they were, like, laughing about it afterward. I am just trying to wrap my head around this.
Well, the sources emphasize these statistics to build a case that the city is descending into anarchy. The argument is that the basic social contract is just breaking down entirely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You have mass arrests, viral videos of assaults, officers getting run over. You would expect a massive police trackdown or a highly defensive press conference the next morning.
Right, but that is not what happened at all.
No. Mayor Brendan Johnson actually went on record touting the weekend as a major success.
He did. And when he addressed the public, he took deep offense to the terms people were using. He strongly pushed back against the word mob and said calling the youths baby Al Capones was inappropriate.
Wait, it sounds like complaining about the brand of a fire hose while the actual house is burning down to the ground. But wait, why does the mayor argue that language matters so much in this context?
Well, it is an ideological divide. The mayor operates from a perspective focused on root causes. He insists officials must speak about these dynamics carefully to avoid dehumanizing the youth.
Right, but the sources are heavily criticizing that.
Absolutely. The YouTube source is very harsh here, claiming Johnson has an ideological opposition to order. The argument is that focusing on language prevents actual consequences on the street.
Yeah, because instead of arrests, the mayor proposed taxing and penalizing social media companies, right?
Exactly. He blamed them for organizing the riots and harming youth mental health.
And the source points out a massive contradiction there. They highlight the hypocrisy of a mayor who supported the defund the police movement, walking around with a 150-officer personal security detail.
That is a major sticking point in the video. The source also criticizes the mayor's priorities, noting that while the city deals with street violence, he prioritized traveling to the Vatican to ask the Pope for slavery reparations.
Wow. And, that breakdown in safety and leadership bleeds directly into the city's economy. The sources describe Chicago as dead broke with a billion-dollar deficit.
Yeah, $1 billion deficit. And the YouTube source argues this deficit exists mainly because the city gave all its money to illegal aliens.
So what does this all mean? Wait, the source directly connects the entire billion-dollar deficit to spending on illegal immigration. Is it really that simple, or is this a specific political narrative the source is building?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes clear this is the YouTube creator's specific right-wing framing. He weaves these hot-button social issues together to explain the economic ruin.
Right.
He points out the city's refusal to cooperate with icy immigration and customs enforcement. And he argues that these communist and hostile business policies are causing jobs to flee.
So when businesses leave, jobs disappear, and the tax revenue vanishes?
Exactly. And the sources point to the biggest casualty of all this cascading failure: the Chicago Bears.
Oh, right. They have been an institution since 1921.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after 3 years, the city has no plan and no money to offer incentives. So the franchise will likely move to the suburbs or Indiana.
Taking massive tourism revenue with them.
Yeah, the source uses the loss of a cultural staple like the Bears as the ultimate proof of fiscal mismanagement.
And this combination of street chaos and a broken budget has triggered something very unusual in politics: a brutal public attack from a powerful leader inside the mayor's own political party.
Yeah, Governor JB Pritzker publicly gave Mayor Johnson a severe tongue lashing. He called him incompetent, unserious, and disorganized.
To put this in perspective, it's like the captain of your own team grabbing a microphone and telling the whole stadium you don't know how to play the game.
It really is.
Yeah.
Pritzker even stated Johnson is the worst person he's had the mispleasure of working with.
Ouch. And he specifically highlighted the complete lack of a plan for the Bears, right?
Yes. And Pritzker also criticized Johnson's budget strategy. The state works on the budget from November to May.
Okay.
And Pritzker says they hear almost nothing from the mayor until Johnson just barges in at the very end of the process in May, demanding state money.
But why would a sitting governor risk publicly torching an ally like this?
This raises an important question, because Chicago is the economic engine of Illinois. The governor is stepping in because if the mayor drives Chicago into the ground, the entire state suffers severe financial consequences.
So it is essentially political triage to save the state.
Exactly.
Well, we have covered a lot of ground today. We explored strong claims regarding a city facing physical violence, massive financial deficits, the loss of a historic sports team, and a dramatic political feud.
Yeah, all viewed through the critical lens of these specific sources.
But why should you care?
Because Chicago serves as a massive test case for what happens when the balancing act of ideology, public safety, and economics is pushed to the absolute limit.
Right. And it leaves you with a lingering question. If a major metropolis loses its core businesses, its sports teams, and its sense of public order, at what point does it simply become unmanageable?
Yeah, and more importantly, what happens to the everyday citizens who can't afford to just pack up and move away when the tax base disappears?
Exactly. It is a lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we encourage you to keep questioning the world around you.